Alrighty. The day of reckoning. For 7 months we've listened to this stuff over and over. It's finally here. Today is it. This is Doc from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank goodness it's finally going to be over. I've never seen, my 40 some odd years in the markets, I've never seen such intensity of following primaries and then following, more primaries and following more polls. And that's all they did is they talked about it for 7 solid. It seemed like almost once January came around, it seemed like they ignited themselves. But by February, when they started to do primaries in the individual states, then it seemed like the financial markets and the media particularly just went into gear, and it was just like no stopping it. It just went on and on and on. And here we are. This is the day. So, can't wait for it to be done and over with. I guess I could say that I have an opinion. I'm thinking between 73 and 80 seats in the House, and I'm thinking anywhere from 5 to 10 in the Senate. That's how I see it. So, it's going to be very interesting to see if that comes to fruition or not. Usually we're not too far off the hunt. We'll see. We will see. All right, let's take a look at it. There's the dollar index. You can see the that's the DXY from the ICE on J4X right there, and then over on Chicago Quant, you can see that's the CME index of the dollar. And you can see we did we get into the buy? Yeah, we did. We went into a buy on Friday, right there, and we're already pressing down again. I have a hard time believing that the interest rates are not going to go down. I mean, I do believe they will go down. And we've talked about that, keeping an eye on the 6 month and so forth. Unfortunately, and I do say unfortunately, as someone who traded in the bond room in the old floor at the NYSE, which the New York Exchange was really a bond exchange first and then became a stock exchange. And they move really fast. I mean, nowhere near what stock does or, currencies. Well, we saw the Swiss back in 17 or 18. I guess it was like 17. It just took the massive 16, 15, right around 14, 15, I guess it was. Took a massive dive because they disconnected themselves from the euro. I guess it was 2014, something like that. I think it was 15. But anyway, that was a very interest rate type of move, because what happens is there's no solid listed exchanges. It's bonds are really an over-the-counter market. The only thing that even makes them remotely close to a listed is buying them from Treasury or the Federal Reserve, either way. And so when they move, they can move with lightning speed. I mean, just and done. And so looking at the short-term rates, trying to follow, the 6 month and 1 year and 2 year and all like that, will be a little hard because, they will probably drift more. A lot of people know around here that they need to get the interest rates back down again because the federal government is paying, way more now. They borrowed all that money with the intention of thinking that they could hold interest rates basically at the 0 point and use it to fluctuate up and down against opposition in politics. And then, in other words, notice 8 years, no interest rate increase under Obama. The moment November comes along, Mr. Trump wins. All of a sudden, they start increasing interest rates after 8 years. From zero, sitting on zero. And then the moment that Biden takes over, they try to drive the interest rates back down again. Matter of fact, to the point where even to this day, with 8% inflation, we still only have like 4 to 4.5% bond rates, which is, just not a real solid reality. So they need to get these interest rates back down for the paying of the debt. It's not the worst thing in the world. I mean, we can always print more money, that's for sure. But it is a pressure point. So, all right, you can see there. What is that doing? The index, is that today? Yeah, today. Yeah, you can see it's trying to lift up a little bit, not a lot, but it's in a daily sell there for the last 2 days. And you can see the weekly has, slid right back into the weekly downtrend. Oop, didn't mean to do that. Let's see if we can I wanted to put the cute little circle in there I like to put in there. Where is that at? And that little circle is right there. And so we can see here it didn't take long. As soon as the week started, this thing dropped below the zero. Let's fix this thing here too. Let's see if we can make that white so you can see it better. Matter of fact, Robin was saying to me, matter of fact, I should cancel that, right? And then Robin was saying, bring it down to the grays like that. Like that. That's probably, is that better? That might be better. Oh, let me tune into Dukascopy to make sure no one's saying anything. I don't see anything. Okay, good. Oh, I do see. Miporuski? No, let's see. Who's that? Hello, 370. How are you today? You know, it's you can see here the grays do look a little bit better and a little bit stronger. And if let's just do this too. Let's make that thickerish. Go to the style and make it thickerish, so you can see it even better. There we are. And that gives you a better view of the daily chart. The center chart, for those that might be new here, is our algorithm. And let's make that a little bit more palatable. There's the histogram. Let's get it one more number right there, maybe. That's okay. Is that okay? Yeah, that's okay. And then you're going to see the time manifolds, these yellow things that are mirror images. They are a one standard deviation of our algorithm itself. And then you can see green is just a 2 versus a 1 mathematical configuration to our algorithm. And there we go. And then down below is the weekly trend. And what we like as traders around here is we like to see the weekly trend in the same trend, unless using derivatives, of course, like options and binaries. But we always like to see that if it's in a, like in other words, now it was in a weekly buy. If we were in a daily buy, you could be long. Because it's in a daily sell, you can't be long. So it's a flat position. And there's, on Friday it closed in a sell and closed in a weekly buy. And the daily started to supersede the action, which is the more short term, kind of like the House versus the Senate type of thing. And you can see the pressure is on there. All right, let's save that. That looks good. We're readjusting this new computer to match up with everybody viewing it. Now, over on, let's go to here. We're going to go take a look at the euro now. Let's jump over to the euro versus the dollar. Let's see, right there. We'll throw it up on J4X to start off with. And on J4X, we have a couple of indicators we've developed in the sense of putting them together. In other words, it's like a smorgasbord, and this is our favorite meal here. This is Hinky Ashkies, which kind of line up with our dots. Let's put, let's see, I did save that. Let's just do this. Let's go to the euro now, right there. We'll do the same thing. We will go like that. There we are. And you can see there we have 3 green dots, and you can see that the Hinky Ashkies are rising over here on J4X, and at the same time we're using 2 different stochastics. A fast right there, you can see the parameters of it, the 5.3 SMA, and then you can see the slow, which is a stochastic slow, which is a 5.3 SMA. When the green line is obviously past the dash line, which I always like to refer to as the 3-dimensional zero, excuse me, 3-dimensional zero line, that tells you that there's strength. Like vice versa, you can see here we have red Hinky Ashkies there on a daily basis, and the green line pierces here, and what do we get? We get a downwardly trend, and that's the way to look at that. This is correlated to our mathematics by about 68%, which is not that bad compared to using something like moving averages and MACDs and so forth. Our math, which is obviously the lead, and if anybody can find a technical analysis that can outperform our math, that would be great, because I'd love to use it. Because my objective first is to make money, second to have a wonderful program, a technical tool. So here you can see here, there's strength trying to come in, and it's trying to lift, and you can see we're in a weekly buy. Let's see, let's just double check this there. There it is. Oh, that's the S&P 500. So we need to go over to How about that? That's cute, isn't it? The three greens matching up to the euro. They do move that way too. It's kind of curious that that does happen. Let's find it right there. There's the weekly. Let's jump over to the euro. There's the euro, and we're going to change that background to there. There we go. And you can see it's been in a daily buy for 3 days right there. Let's put that line in there. We always throw a line in there just to keep track of it all in case some data comes in wrong. You can see here we were in the sell. Let's put that in there. And we make that one a red one, and then you can look at J4 action and go, oh yeah, I see that. Doing the same thing. Right there. And we're in a weekly buy for 3 weeks right there. Let's throw that in right so. So that's been telling you that every time we get into a daily buy, you can be long. Oh, wrong, not dots. We want it to be straight line. There we are. And there's the euro. And you can see the action in it. A little weakness this morning, nothing major. Just a little down, and there's a little tail to it at the same time, but it seems to be trapped inside the range. And what else can we say about all this thing here? I guess that's about it. And you can see it as it is on J4X. The three greens right there. We got three greens right there. You see the green line through. For our case here, it's let's see, I think we have to change that. There we go. There it is, and then let's put a line in there at the same time. That's the zero line right there. We'll make that white. There we are. So you can see it was in a weekly sell back in here. Went into the sell right there. Back in, what was that? That was all late August. There we go. Just giving a good example at the same time here while we're fixing this up and changing things around and trying to explain it to possibly new viewers. You can see here it goes into the weekly sell. It was in a daily sell from here, so you can trade most of that at that time. Then it goes into a buy here. You can see the upwardly drift. Gets into a sell. It makes it, it's a little tough, but it makes some money again. And then it gets back into a buy again here. And you can see you're flat for this move. Then you get this again, and you can see the pressure sideways jumps in there. That might even eat up some of the profits from this nice move there. And then the next one is right there. You get into a sell there with that one right there, with the histogram and the green line below the zero line. Matter of fact, let's put that in there too. There we go. They're playing Rocky music on one of the financial channels this morning. All right, and then you can see a sell there, and we're in a sell here, so it's a nice trade again. And then you see this pop up right there, and it's like, well, don't be short. And of course, it has its upwardly drift. Then it tries to give you a sell, and the next day they gap them down, and then we get into a buy by the end of the day. So you know not to be short for this whole move up in here, and then we get into a weekly buy. So that's just a kind of like a preview. I think you saw most of it. I just realized that you didn't see it all. So there it is there now. You can see that. There you go. And so this is the one we were talking about here because it's in a weekly sell. Here's the one we were talking about here because it's in a weekly sell. These were the covers right there because it's upwardly, upward draft. If you're going to try to play those, it would be through binaries and, derivative type tools, not hard delta, what we refer to, but with gamma. Yes, radiate ourselves. All right. From there, we go over to the cable. And I saw raiding the pensions again over there. I don't know where their head's at. These politicians have lost their minds. And let's do that again. Let's make it that. There it is. There's the British pound. You can see it's a second day in a buy and not doing anything great. It's in a weekly buy for 3 weeks. The same situation. And let's go over to J4X and take a peek at it there. Alrighty. And we do call this formula that we use, we call it the Manhattan Project, because it was developed by the physicists who were crunching the numbers for Oppenheimer and Teller and so forth. And so I always like to refer to it as the Manhattan Project. They were aiming the mainframe at Stony Brook at They had a bunch of secret mainframes all over the place. Chicago. Everybody knew about University of Pennsylvania, but they had them in Chicago, and I forget where else. I think they had one out at Caltech. They had one in Stony Brook, and so the ones that had Stony Brook, since of the time change of New Mexico, so they would crank it up. They would put formulas into the computer to follow the stocks at the New York Stock Exchange, and then Oppenheimer would be like, on the phone going, "Have you crunched my numbers yet?" Because that came in at 3-hour difference, so they were playing with it, and like they have their morning meetings, and next thing you know, it's 8 o'clock Mexico time, and that means it's 11 o'clock our time here, and they're trying to trade the stocks, so we can refer to it as the Manhattan Project indicator. All right. What else can we say about the cable? It is lifting up a little bit. It just shows there's two greens, and then you got your hinkies red here. And you can see the green line is through, and it's trying. Let's put it that way. It is trying. All right. From there we go to Swiss. And you can see 3 days in a sell right there. And let's change that background color too. And you can see it's just playing with the weekly sell number right there. It's just below the 0 line. And what else can we say? Let's put it on J4X. Quiet morning, of course. Let's see. Giannis is away. Keep your head down, Giannis. And so there's not much going on when it comes to people jumping in and talking. Robin doesn't seem to be. He's off the scope also. Robin, you out there? And then, so we're in 3 days of a sell, and it's barely heading down. I mean, it's heading down, but it's barely doing it. It's just choking itself. I would imagine at this point, I can say this. Let me say this about what's going on at this moment physically these last couple of days. I've never seen, there's Robin, translation, it's a crisis. It's a crisis. Let's hope not. Uh-oh. All right, we'll talk after the webinar. God bless. Let's see. So, in the end result is that we normally don't see much action when there's major news coming around the door, coming around the corner. Russian crisis? What are they doing in Russia? Is Vlad having an issue? What did he do? Buy another yacht that didn't do this, that, or the other thing? Or is he getting a yacht with a laser cannon from Israel? Maybe that's why he talks with Israel so much. He wants one of those laser cannons to be on his yacht. This way he can try to defend off anybody who tries to come to him when the end comes, I guess, All right, let's see what we got here. The man posted this above. Translation, it's a crisis. Oh, really? Where was that posted? Well, I see. I see. I see, yeah. Okay. Well, we know that, it's, I would imagine Russia's going to function like the bond market. Basically what's going to happen is we're going to see it, when things do change there, it's probably going to be at lightning speed. Let's hope this time, it's only been 30 some odd years. When you really look at like America, 1776 to like 1790s, 1780s, late 18, it was like, I don't know, 14 years, something like that. They start to get their game together, I mean, for Russia's situation, it was a little bit harder. There were, wasn't coming from, we had 160 years of William Bradford and religious freedom and functioning most of the time without a king, and every so often the king would give us problems and, colonists would pay attention or they wouldn't. It was one or the other. Whereas in Russia, they went from Soviet Union to chaos. And, so maybe this time it'll be, a Russian Federal Republic to some more functional, maybe something like that. We'll see how it plays out. More than likely, it will go in the better this time compared to the worse because You have to imagine like the Russian Federation was probably like a pregnancy, and now they're getting ready to birth it in the end result. Because it's not, I mean, the idea of putting a bunch of countries together as a federation is to be productive and economically, not bombing them and things like that. So, say no to bombing. All right. From there, let me see, where are we at? From there to Swiss, on both counts, let's just take a look at it here one more time on J4X. Where's that at? Oh, there it is. Yeah, so the pressure is on. Now we got what was that? A little green there. Right there was a green. But over here on Chicago Quant, we were 3 days in the red. But the line was through. In this case here, we've been through for 3 days. This has been like 4 or 5 days, from the pop, and then finally breaking down. It's a crisis. The man posted this above. Well, as long as it's not a crisis in your nest, that's all that counts. All right. From there, we go over to the yen. You see, these things are marching so much together at this point. How do you like that gray background, too? You're right. It's much better. Matter of fact, probably should go like that. Make that white, too. There we are. And then file and save. And so you can see here the same situation there. Let's put it up on J4X and see what's going on there. I gave my predictions at the very beginning, so it's been immortalized by YouTube. I'm saying between 73 and 78 House seats and between 5 and 10 Senate seats. Let's see. Yen. As I used to make that foolish joke. I don't have a yen for the yen. You can see here the breakdown. You see the green breaking down. You can see we've gone 4 out of the 5 days in red. Over here it's the last 3 days. And you can see the line itself had broken down 4 days ago. But we had a green there. So that was like, you could get short off the opening up in here. So that worked out really well. But unfortunately, the weekly is tangling that up. See that right there? So unless you were doing it through binaries or something like that, it's not worth trying to do. Because, this is, herky-jerky situation. Matter of fact, in some ways, it's hard to believe, but, this thing might be looking at another upside. I don't know why it would go up. But it looks, in some ways, it has that look to it. I guess, could you say that's a reverse head? Not a reverse. That looks like a head and shoulders, too. Maybe this one right here is the head. Maybe it's a head and shoulders. And there's one shoulder. Here's the second shoulder. It'll play it out to here, and then maybe they'll break it down. I guess the election will tell us, because if the numbers come in the way I'm suggesting, we'll have super majorities, and we'll be able to stop a lot of foolish spending, and get rid of executive orders, and you'll be able to see a change. Matter of fact, it was really funny. Dennis Gartman was on this morning. He tried to say that the Dow had gotten down to 400 points in 72. And he said that basically, what did he say? He said that the Republicans controlled everything. And we didn't control the House, and we didn't control the Senate. I don't know why he says those things. Dennis Gartman is more wrong than he's right. He's been a bear for 5 years. Finally, the market collapses, in this year, and he's so happy and proud. It's amazing. Dennis, I've never seen just a really bad prognosticator of future action in a market than him. It's like we have mirror images of success, except for I was accurate on the downside this year, and he was just happy. He's like the broken clock. He's always a bear. Matter of fact, he tried to get bullish. I guess it was a couple weeks ago. About a week ago, he was like, "Yeah, this is a bottom. I'm buying." And then the market got sloppy again. So I don't know. Just Dennis Gartman just cracks me up when he does that stuff. And my YouTubes show I'm accurate, and his YouTubes show he's inaccurate. That's the odd part about it all. All right, from there we jump over to one of our favorites to watch. It's like watching a little laboratory, and that is the Turkish lira. We're going to take a look at dollar Turkish lira to start off with right there, which is trades oddly like an index, and then all these wild moves in it of late means incredible lack of liquidity. And on the old days, we would refer to that as the cockroach hotel. You can get in, but you can't get out. And obviously, they've been sellers that do that because then they bring it right back up again to the closing prices. So they've been squeezing some people somewhere. And you can see we're 40 years. Oh yeah, 40 years. 40 weeks in a weekly buy. It's starting to finally break down a little bit. Let's scrunch that up and show you that, because that's just fun. That's like a laugh. What a hoot. And it wasn't as illiquid. So we went into a weekly buy. Where was it? It was in February. It's not even showing it here. We went to the weekly buy in February. And it's been in a weekly buy ever since. I mean, they go down and play with the time manifolds. That's what these mirror images are. I refer to them as nonlinear time manifolds. They're a standard deviation of my formula, and they act like a nonlinear time manifold. Now, they're not really, they're linear manifolds, but there's no nonlinear. So I've labeled them as a nonlinear because it doesn't have the characteristics of a linear approximation, and it doesn't have the it has the opposite effect of the linear approximation mathematically, and also has the same opposite effect of bell curve, and it also has an opposite effect, or not opposite, but it doesn't match up mathematically to any of those. And what's the other one? Approximation, algebraic approximation, or linear approximation. They don't. My math doesn't do that. Matter of fact, I answered somebody yesterday about that in one of the physics journals. So it was like they were talking about X, Y, Z, and time, and trying to get more together on quantum level instead. And I said, oh yeah, been there, done that 45 years ago. Did that in the 70s. In the mid to late 70s I did that. 77, I think, to be exact. So, yeah, that's just an interesting way of looking at it there. All right, and now we're going to go over to the one that's really worth looking at, and that is the Euro Turkish Lira. And we always make the statement about, and you can see the illiquidity in that all of a sudden. Over this last month and a half, we're getting some dramatic illiquidity, and they're slamming them, getting transactions down here, and then they bring them right back up. They're hurting somebody that's been trying to liquidate their position and forcing them to sell it at really, ridiculous prices. And one of the clear things, and this is that this is location, location, location. So when you're looking at the euro and the Turkish lira, as I just took a sip of my tea, excuse me there, Turkish lira, it's there's got to be more trading going on with that compared to the dollar. I mean, you got 5,000-6,000 miles. Now Turkey borders the European Union. So, I mean, and they were applying it one time for off and on for years because they were NATO. So they thought, okay, let's try economics. But they could never get in line with the European Union. Would you believe that Turkey was more radical than them? That's hard to believe. But that is the truth. As you can see there, the last 3 days, it's in a buy. Let's put it up on J4X. Mr. Mouse, where are you? There you are. I color code these mice, and how do I still grab the wrong one? And right there it is. There's the Turkish lira. You can see 3 days of green. Got a teeny weeny one right there. This is pretty cool. And you can see then the other two got going. You can see the green line comes through. And right now we are at the highs of the day. And we've been in a weekly buy for 3 weeks. Excuse me. So, I guess that's it for the Turkish lira's action, in the sense of it's just finding ways to go north. And at the same time, which is really odd, is that they're almost basically at parity with each other, the dollar Turkish lira and the euro Turkish lira. So, boy, do you know something is wrong, because for years there was always a discount. Dollar Turkish lira was higher in price, and in other words, it was when it went to its all-time highs of 21 and change on the Turkish lira, we went to like 1830 or something like that on the dollar Turkish lira. But now they seem to be. It's almost like, I want to say, I don't want to make people paranoid. Don't take it too serious, but it's having the characteristics in some ways of a bankrupt a company that's going bankrupt. In other words, a lot of times you'll see companies like an Enron or something like that that start to flirt with low numbers, or a Citibank. Citibank, same way. Citibank is owned by the Federal Reserve. It's trading something like 90% off its all-time highs, or even worse. I think it's trading in the 40s. And so the all-time high is like $667. So that makes it really not good when you're trading at $40 or $45, something like that. And your all-time high is almost $668. And, everybody else in the banking business has gone through their all-time highs and split stocks and done all kinds of wonderful things. And here, over the last 14 years since the collapse of the financial system on Earth, you got Citibank, Deutsche Bank, Lloyd's of London, a few others that went belly up. Santander, who else did? Bear Stearns, Merrill Lynch. We could go on. There's a wonderful list. It's a sad list. It's not a wonderful list. It's a sad list of companies that basically went bankrupt and were forced to merge, or were propped up because they were so bad, like Deutsche Bank and Citi and Lloyd's, that they're so bad that they have to be owned by the central banks themselves. Well, really, really tough stories there. All right. From there, we slide over to CAD, dollar CAD, which is usually an informative thing to the oil market. And there it is right there. Let's go like that, and let's do this, make it white, like so, and then let's do a save. Save workspace. Save it as Dukascopy. Save. There we go. It's the same thing. It's just kind of hindering itself and not really finding a way to do anything more but to go sideways down. And when we see this thing down like this, we assume oil is up in value. So what we'll do is we'll go over to oil real quick here. Let's get it up on, let's see, where's J4X? Let's get the Canadian up on J4X. Right there, CAD away. And over here on, so we did the white on S&P. All right, that's cute. There's crude, that's spot month. And, popped high, took out, I guess, like a 2-month high. Missed the 3-month high over here. But you can see here it's, just off a little bit, nothing major. What's that, 50 cents, 60 cents, something like that. See if we can make this bigger like that. Let's make that font like 12 or 13. Let's make it 14. There you go. Now you can see it. You can see the product is down 54 cents, right? Can you see that? Let's do this. Right there, you can see it. It's down 52 cents as we speak right there. 51 cents, 50 cents. 49.50. Watch them trade. 51, 53. Rocking and a rolling. And you can see it, watch it bounce down into here, but it's holding on by the hair of its chinny chin chin. It went into that weekly buy here. We were on a daily buy there, and it's been a nice little ride. I think that sell was over here. Yeah, right there. So we got the sell there, and then it gapped down, and we got back into the buy here. You can't take it, of course, because why again, traders? You're not trading binaries? Oh, right. Or the weekly and the daily don't line up together. Both are a recipe. And then you can see the nice pop we had out of it there. All right. Now, brown cow. Let's see. We go over to, let's see, there's Canadian. So let's put was that the oil up on Canadian. Right there. There's light sweet Texas crude. You see all those nice greens doing their job. It's still rising a little bit. That's the Hinky's it's usually a couple hours behind us. But when it gets into a trend, it's well worth paying attention to. If you don't have Doc's work, at least you have that. All right. From there, we slide over to the metals market. We go to gold, and we look at the South African rand. And there it is right there. It's been relatively firm for the last couple of days, but it seems to be trying to roll over in here. Now we're starting to roll over. I'm not sure why that little hiccup is there. We'll have to check what that's all about. And it's trying. You can see the daily buy there. And it's basically telling you to stand it aside for the moment. Now, let's take a look at it on J4X. We'll take a look at South African Rand. Right there. And you can see it's been going down for a couple of days. That means it's gaining value against the dollar, and gold has been going up. That's usually the recipe of it all. In other words, when you see this thing going down, normally that means oil is going up. In this case here, this is oil on Chicago Quant. Let's see if we do this like that. And like that. I'll move that over. There we are. So, as you see, the South African Rand, in this case here, had been running up like that. You can see gold was running down like that right there. You know, lots of pressure. And that's what that does. This is a good commodity pairs trade with a currency. You know, the South African Rand against the metals, especially gold. And Canadian is pretty decent. It's got about a 70 some odd, like 76, 78% correlation with oil. Sometimes it can get as high as in the 80s, depends. And I think inflation is having more of an influence on it. But that's usually correlated pretty well with the oil market, the Canadian dollar against the American dollar. All right, now from there, let's see, where's it at? There's gold. Now let's go back to finishing off the currency pairs that we watch. And let's see, there's CAD, there's there. The last one we look at is the one that's south of the border. Now, if anybody wants to see, something else, give us a yell on the chat line, and we will gladly, put something that you'd like to see in the chat line. Background, gray. There we are. Excellent. Let's save that. Save. Save workspace as. There we are. So you can see here, Mexican peso is moving definitely out of its range. Let's see, what is that? That's the bottom end of the ranger. I think that's what it is right there. So let's fix that. So we can make that line thickerish. Maybe we have to just go like this. This one. Yep. Cancel. That's the top end of the range right here where the blue is. I'm not sure what that's doing there. Oop, nope. Oh, I see. That's the... Yeah, that's okay. That's the top end of the range right there. And for a couple of years, it's been following it. Bounces off the bottom of the range. The dashed lines at the bottom. The yen now is really finding a way to park itself underneath the last couple of days. We're in a daily sell here and a weekly sell, so you can see that pressure is not surprising us any. But what is surprising us is that it's going after the bottom end of the range, which is, it's honored that range for a couple of years. Now we're assuming Mexico will be better off if the election goes the way I think it's going to go. And so that could be it. Remember, as the Mexican peso goes down against the dollar, that means that it's more valuable. So instead of like 19 or 20 pesos, you get 19 or 18 pesos. So the lower it goes, in this sense here, makes the peso more valuable. It's stronger against the dollar. So when you use X amount of dollars to buy a peso, now you're only getting 18 versus 19, which makes it a stronger situation. In other words, you save a peso for your pocket. buy a pack of smokes or something. All right. And so that's the action we've seen in the currency universe. Like I said, anybody want to see something, just shout it out. It's kind of a quiet day. I don't even see Metho 2000 here today. It's really quiet. I guess everybody's out doing something. Let's widen out a little bit there. And that's the interesting thing is it's going through the bottom end of the range, which I think it should do, because I really think things are going to turn out for the better financially, globally. So that would make sense. All right. Let's go over to the commodities now. I think we were at gold. Yeah, I think we were gold. So we'll go through the metals complex first. So there's gold. And let's put it up on J4X again. We'll go from the gold there. You see that? It's been green for a couple days. It's pressing up. Same situation as us. And then let's go over to silver. There's silver. Same situation in the daily buy, but it's taken some real work to get it to go over here on the weekly. So maybe this is a digestion. I've seen some interesting headlines about how undervalued silver is. So silver might try to play a catch up again. It might start to see the thing get up into the 22s or something like that. You can see there, it's in a weekly buy. It's looking very healthy. If they just kind of catch, see how this got up in here, and then it kind of started to stall out after about a week and got into a sell, and then they started to clock it, and next thing you know, we went into a weekly sell up in here, and it was in a weekly sell all the way over to basically right here. Then we got into a daily buy here. We knew not to be short, but the weekly refused to get going. It took a while just to get it through the negative manifold side. And that was really surprising in its own right. Each time they ran it, it was really close too. I guess it was such a tight market. We would see that on a Monday or a Tuesday, particularly Mondays, they could start that thing in the weekly buy and then find a way to knock it down the rest of the week, which was kind of curious. All right, from there we go over to the copper market, and there is the copper market right there. And you can see the same situation. It's trying to lift up again. There's all the room. Now, copper is the gold of China, and they're supposedly now importing about 2.5 million barrels more a week than they were 6 months ago. So they're starting to gear up to try to get going economically. Unfortunately, they kind of forget that if we don't buy their stuff, not many other places buy their stuff. So, they need to stop fighting with us and driving us crazy, because we are their sugar daddy. And they are like our colony. And they hate us. So the government does, not the people. And so it's a real confusing situation all the time. They bite the hand that feeds them. We're the ones that feed them, and they seem to want to bite our hand all the time. None of that makes any sense to me, but we're communists, so what else is new? And so that's where we are. You can see that strength there, especially that one big pop. And in the news, besides the 2.5 million barrels a week that they're starting to import more, half a day, basically, they're also, what else are they doing? Oh, yes, they keep on threatening to open the economy. Unfortunately, the last headline I saw a couple hours ago said, rumors of opening economy are being clouded by increased COVID infections. So, as much as they want to open the economy up, they're also having major problems because they're not, no free markets, free people in that village. Let's put it that way. All right, from there, we shoot over to, let's see, we'll go take a look at platinum. Platinum was the leader. I think where's all the platinum at? It's got to be here somewhere. Are you telling me we don't have platinum? I guess we don't have platinum. Let's go find platinum. So let's go. Oh, first of all, let's change the color of this too. Then we're going to put platinum up in there. There it is there. Change that color. How's that look, Robin? Does that make more sense? Let's see. Let's find a thick one. Somebody nice and thick. There, like that. Oh, I see what I'm doing. I'm going into the commodity universe. Okay, let's do this. Let's copy. Oh, this is probably where. No, that doesn't make any sense. So let's make a copy of this, and we'll move over to here. File, paste, and then we will throw in platinum. Let's get that out of the way. Go like that. Add a product. Oh, right there. Let's move that over. Futures. PL. I could have sworn I put it in there. And there is the January contract. Let's slide that in. PL. There we go. And it will magically appear. PL again. So you can see here it's been in a weekly buy for 3 weeks. Was in that, what is that? There we go. There's the sell there. And now it's back in the buy here. Let's see what that is right there. Yeah, okay. And went into the buy. Not there. There. Went into the buy there. Had that first good run. And now we're kind of watching it do another digestion. We got into a buy here. So it was not a very good trade. We missed too bad, but didn't do that one there. What are we going to do? Running a gas line 3 and a gas line 3, I think. I have to double check what we use that on the other machine. I wanted to say 5, but we'll see. Yeah, you can see platinum holding up pretty well, that's for sure. Now let's see, and is it over 1,000 yet? We thought that it was going to get up towards 1,000 again. And I guess the high is 80 basically. So the strength is coming into the metals complex. Let's save that. Save workspace. Save workspace as. There we go. Now from there, we will head over to the energy sector. What's that? And there's front month crude inching its way up. Let's see, where's it at now? Down only 41 whole American cents. 40, 41, 43's trade, 41's trade. Just kind of bouncing around. And then let's take a look at the back month. There is the February contract. That's looking even better. What is that down? That is down, trying to see what that's down. That's down 32 cents. So it's even less. Weekly is holding up, but it is flirting with the manifold there. Let's put it up on J4X. There's Brent. Brent was up to like 99 almost yesterday. Really trying to hunt down that century mark, isn't it? Oh, here we go. There's middle age. Middle age, what you doing? Could you look at the GDX and the GDXJ? Sure. That's a gold ETF, right? Well, I'm not sure. What is a GDXJ? Is that like a Japanese combination or what? But yeah, let's go get GDX. I remember GDX. I used to trade it when I traded the XAU. I think I made the very first trade in XAU. All right, let's do this. We're going to close there. Let's go open something up that we can put GDX in. Open Sesame. There we go. Gold miners, yeah. And which J juniors? Is that lower capitalized ones? So it's like based off of capitalization, and so they actually have like some small little operations at the same time. Let's see. Let's go with this. Oh, we'll go with this one. Just make a copy of it. Copy. Paste. Let's put DJ. Some of my machines have GDX in it. but this one's a new machine, so it doesn't have it. Won't take long to put it in. Let's see, GDX. Well, that didn't work. Let's try it again. Oh, I see. That's where it is. GDX. There it is. GDX. There it is. Add symbol. Let's try it one more time now. GDX. Look up. And smart. Not there. Smart. Not there. Smart. Arca. We'll go with Arca. And then let's try with a dot. Dot J. Look up. No match for J. So was that a second dot? That might be a second dot. I might have screwed that up. Let's try that again. I think there's 2 dots in there. No. Alright, so GDX dot J. Let's try that again. Look up. No, I don't have anything for a GDXJ. Small mining operations. There must be another symbol for it. Maybe it's a 4-letter. GDXJ itself. There you go. No, that's, yeah, there it is. GDX. And there's Arca. We'll go to Arca on that too. And then you can see the prices and know if that's functional or not. Alright, so let's do the first one. Let's close that, and open that. There we go. Here's GDX. There we are. Alright, so it's been in a weekly buy for 4 weeks. Interesting. That's usually the way it goes. I traded, when I was young, on the floor, I used to trade Newmont, and I used to trade XAUs, the index itself. I'm trying to think who else I did. There was another metals, but Newmont was like the 3rd biggest, maybe number 1 or number 2. No, American, was it Barrett? Barrett was number 1 in America, and Newmont was number 2. And then, like globally, they were like in the top 4 or 5 companies, 3 or 4 companies, something like that. I think there was a Canadian one. Obviously, there was a South African one that was number 1. Okay. So you can see here, went into a daily buy. Well, I had a hard time getting in there. Went into the sell. Let's move that over. Went into the sell here. So you can't take it. You just don't be long. And it gets smashed. And then now it's trying to kick up there, let's see, you can see, let's see if we do this. We'll go like this with it. We'll make it gray and make that white. Does that look better, Robin? And then I can do, I can make the style, make them thickerish. There we go. And do the same thing with the algorithms, make them thickerish. There it is. That's much thicker and clearer, right? And we'll do the weekly, same thing. There we go. So you see there, went into the weekly buy here, which is interesting. The daily is kind of anemic as far as I'm concerned. There we are. And let's see, let's just make it like that. So you can see here, interesting action. Let's see, there's the buy there. Okay. It follows the crypto. Isn't that interesting? Because this was a crypto chart. There's the buy there. This is a crypto chart. So you see it goes into a buy here. You get that strength there. I'll put this over there like that. You see we get a sell here. And you see it breaks down in the next couple of days. And it was in a weekly sell here. So you couldn't take the buy. You just knew not to be short. Then let's fix this. There we are. Then it does it get into the plus or minus? It's zeroed. So it doesn't get into anything. So it's still in a sell. Then into a buy. I'm sorry, not buy, sell. And then it gets into the buy right here. Interesting. So that's GDX. Now, is that better? Good. Your long march calls in both. Okay, now let's scrunch that up a little bit. I'll give you my 5-cent opinion. Well, it's definitely coming off of a correction, that's for sure. And it seems to be like a reverse head and shoulders here. And our math is, wow, this thing was, look at that. Oh my God. So it went into a weekly buy right here after being in a sell for this. Matter of fact, it's even worse, isn't it? Yeah. Went into the sell up in here. Wow. What was that? That was up in the 40s. So it goes into the weekly sell in the high 30s and rides the pony for a while. Then gets into a buy, and then 1 week later it goes right back into the sell. So it went into a sell at the end of April and has been pretty much only 1 week in a buy until just recently. So that was a long, vicious beat. Let's beat that mule. It's like a mule rented in Death Valley. Or the Grand Canyon. Beaten like a mule in the Grand Canyon. And then you can see here. Okay, so now that we got that flavor, I sold off in April with gold. Smart. You paired it. Good move. How's it function ratio wise to gold? I'm going to put the J in there now. Let's see. There's J. There we go. There we are. All right, now there's J. Same thing. 4 weeks ago, it got into the buy. It's cleaner in some ways. You know, it gets into the sell, not there, but right there. And not necessarily cleaner, because the other one caught the daily slam off of this day. So it's a little bit slower, I see that. And then there's your buy right there. The sell there was all right. It caught that. Here's your other buy right here. That caught that. And it also wasn't in the big slam. Let's take a look at this. So from April, this thing went into a sell here up in the 50-ish area and stayed in it all the way to here. And it had a couple, 4 weeks. 4 weeks in a buy here. You can see the upwardly pressure on it. Slid back into the weekly sell off of this one right here. And not beautiful, but it was okay. You know, it gave you a little hump here. You know, you were protected from the daily. And then when it did go into the sell right here, it did this slide there. So, electric slide. And then, what is that? Did it get into a buy there? Let's widen that out. Yeah, that looks like a weekly buy. So it jumps back into a weekly buy at that peak. But we're in a daily sell, so you can't get trapped in it. So that's okay. Then it goes into a buy here, and it fails. This is less liquid. I can see that now. And then you can see it's back into the sell here. And look at these gaps. You know, it's kind of less liquid. Ratio favors GDX. Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I can see that in our math. It's telling you that. Gold at the moment. Oh, the ratio favors GDX over gold at the moment. Okay, yeah. I like GDX over GDXJ too. I think it's a much better trading tool. There's no doubt about that. So, all right, traders, we are out of here. And got to get prepped for the election. I got to get prepped for trading. So this is Doc from North America. Good seeing you, Middle Age. I haven't seen you in a while. And we will catch you all tomorrow, same time, same channel, and we will be able to give you the opinion of what happened today, tomorrow. Okay, I'll laugh at that. All right. Happy trails to you until we meet again, which will be Happy Hump Day Wednesday. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Arrivederci.